Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you in Sri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business and Commercial Knowledge. In this lecture, we'll continue with Business Chapter 4, that is, Government Policies for Business Growth. In this lecture, we'll begin with the multiple choice questions. This is lecture number 2. Let us begin multiple choice questions. Question 1. Fiscal policy relates to A. Government expenditure, B. Government revenue, C. A and B, D. Money and credit. The correct option is C. A and B. Fiscal policy relates to government expenditure and government revenue both. Next question. Question 2. Find the odd one out. A. Agricultural policy, B. Industrial policy, C. Foreign trade and investment policy, D. Monetary policy. It's D. Monetary policy. It's D. Monetary policy. Next question. Question 3. After independence and up to the first 3-4 decades, the economic system prevalent in India may be regarded as A. Capitalistic, B. Socialistic, C. Mixed, D. Colonial. Mixed. C. Mixed. 3C. Next question 4. Which of the following policy pertain to macroeconomic management? Which of the following policies pertain to macroeconomic management? A. Fiscal policy, B. Physical policy, C. Monetary policy, or D. A and C. It's D. Fiscal policy and monetary policy. That is A and C. It's D. 4D. Next question, question 5. Consider the following two-columnar interpretation of the economic policies of liberalization, privatization, and globalization and choose the correct combination of the answers given below. Consider the following two-columnar interpretation of the economic policies of liberalization, privatization, and globalization and choose the correct combination of the answers given below it. First, liberalization, second, privatization and globalization, and the options are given over here. Mitigation of the role of public sector, B. Foreign trade, C. Deregulation, D. Foreign investment. Options are A. First C, second B, third D. Option B. First D, second A, third B. Option C. First C plus D, second A and third B. And option D. First C, second A, third B plus D. See, liberalization is deregulation. So this would be C. Then if we talk about privatization, second, Mitigation of role of public sector, A. And globalization. Foreign trade is globalization, so B. And foreign investment is also globalization. So first C, second A, third B plus D. Option D. Option D. 5D. Next question, question 6. Following statements pertain to the meaning, importance, and impact of economic policies. These statements are either correct or incorrect. Pick up the answer options that gets it all right. First, macroeconomic policies operate only on the demand side of the economy. Second, the impact transmission of the policies occur through institution and policy instruments. Third, policy formulation does not involve discussion with the stakeholder. And fourth, the impact of sectoral policies is on the economy as a whole. Following statements pertain to the meaning, importance, and impact of economic policies. These statements are either correct or incorrect. Pick up the answer option that gets it all right. Okay. Options are first option correct, second option correct, third option correct, fourth option incorrect. B. First option incorrect, second option correct, third option incorrect, fourth option incorrect. C. First option incorrect, second option incorrect, third option correct, fourth option incorrect. And D. First option correct, second option correct, third option incorrect, fourth option incorrect. Let us understand this. Macroeconomic policies operate only on demand side of the policy of the economy. Incorrect. It's wrong. The impact transmission of the policy occurs through institution and policy instruments. Correct. Third, policy formulation does not involve discussion with the stakeholder. Does not involve. Incorrect. The impact of sectoral policies is on the economy as a whole. Incorrect. First incorrect, second correct, third incorrect, fourth incorrect. Option B. 6B. Next question, 7th. The form of privatization where government keeps hold of responsibility and private enterprise handles the management of its fully or partly is known as A. Disinvestment, B. Deregulation, C. Delegation, D. Decentralization. The form of privatization where government keeps hold of responsibility and private enterprise handles the management of the fully or partly is known as disinvestment, deregulation, delegation, decentralization. It's delegation. It's delegation. 7C. 7C. Next question. Question 8. Which of the following is not attributable to facilitative developmental policies? Which of the following is not attributable to facilitative developmental policies? A. Lifting of curbs on business. B. Easing of doing business. C. Creation of conducive conditions. D. Imposition of clearance and approvals. Which of the following is not attributable to facilitative developmental policies? D. Imposition of clearance and approval. 8D. Next question 9. SEBI, IRDA and RBI are Securities Exchange Board of India, Reserve Bank of India and Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India are A. Regulatory institution, B. Policy institutions, C. Satellite institutions, D. Goal setting bodies. They are all regulatory institutions, they regulate. Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, IRDA, regulatory institutions. RBI regulates commercial banking system. IRDA regulates insurance companies. SEBI regulates stock exchange, securities market. Next question, question 10. BlackRock invested 30 million US dollar as a portfolio investor in Indian stock market. They may be a case of A. FDI, B. FII investment, C. Indirect investment, D. NRI investment. BlackRock invested 30 million US dollar as a portfolio investor in Indian stock market. They may be a case of FDI, FII investment, indirect investment, NRI investment. FII investment 10B. FII investment 10B. Next question, question 11. FDI is FDI in sectors, activities which do not require any prior approval either of the government or the Reserve Bank of India is identified as A. Green channel, B. Priority route, C. Non-commercial route, D. Automatic route. FDI in sectors, activities which do not require any prior approval either of the government or the Reserve Bank of India is identified as A. Green channel, B. Priority route, C. Non-commercial route, D. Automatic route. It's D. Automatic route. It's D. Automatic route. Next question. The method of FDI other than automatic route is called The method of FDI other than automatic route is called A. NRI route, B. Government route, C. Institutional route, D. Priority route. The method of FDI other than automatic route is called government route. B. Government route. 12B. Government route. Next question, question 13. FIPB stands for A. Foreign Institutional Promotion Brand, B. Foreign Institutional Preparatory Brand, C. Foreign Investment Priority Board, D. Foreign Investment Promotion Board. FIPB stands for Foreign Investment Promotion Board. It's D. Foreign Investment Promotion Board. Next question, question 14. Identify the sectors where FDI is not permitted. Identify the sectors where FDI is not permitted. A. Automobile. B. Infrastructure. C. Textile. D. Atomic energy. FDI is not permitted in atomic energy. D. Atomic energy. Next question, question 15. Simplification of trade restrictions related to import is an example of. Simplification of trade restrictions related to import is an example of A. Globalization, B. Privatization, C. Disinvestment, D. Aggregation. Simplification of trade restrictions related to import is an example of A. Globalization, B. Privatization, C. Disinvestment, D. Aggregation. It's A. Globalization. It's A. Globalization. 15A. Next question. Question 16. Sale of 50% stake in a public sector undertaking to a single private sector company is an example of A. Displacement of stake, B. Decentralization of authority, C. Delegation of stake, C. Delegation of stake, or D. Disinvestment to from a joint venture. Sale of 50% stake in a PSU to a single private sector company is an example of disinvestment to form a joint venture. Disinvestment to form a joint venture. Next question. Question 17. FDI is allowed in A. Tea plantation, B. Coconut plantation, C. Sugarcane plantation, D. None of the above. FDI is allowed in tea plantation. A. FDI is allowed in tea plantation. A. Next question. Question 18. After independence, India followed A. Socialistic path of development, B. Commonwealth model of growth, C. Mixed economic path, D. Capitalistic model of development. After independence, India followed a C. Mixed economic path. Mixed economic path. 18C. 18C. Next question. Question 19. Hyundai India Limited came to India through the FDI route. It followed the path of A. Divestment in public sector unit, B. Joint venture, C. By creating a 100% Indian subsidiary, D. Replacement of a government sector business. Hyundai India Limited came to India through the FDI route. It followed the path of A. Divestment in public sector unit, B. Joint venture, C. Creating a 100% Indian subsidiary, D. Replacement of government sector business. By creating a 100% Indian subsidiary. C. 19C. Creating a 100% Indian subsidiary. Next question. Question 20. Next question. Question 20. Government policies are of four types: A. Restrictive, regulative, protective, facilitative. B. Restrictive, regulative, participative, facilitative. C. Voluntarily, participative, regulative, restrictive. And D. Regulative, voluntarily, facilitative, and restrictive. Government policies are of four types. It's A. Restrictive policy, regulative policy, protective policy, facilitative policy. I believe you understood. I believe you understood this. Let us move ahead. Question 21. BRICS is an economic organization comprising A. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Korea. B. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. C. Bangladesh, Russia, India, China, South Korea. D. Bhutan, Russia, India, China, South Africa. It's B. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. B. 21B. Next question. Question 22. Privatization refers to A. Transferring government ownership to private hands. B. Disinvestment in public sector enterprises. C. Opening those areas of private sector which are reserved for government. Or D. All of the above. Privatization refers to all of the above. Privatization refers to all of the above. Transferring government ownership to private hands, disinvestment in PSUs, and opening those areas of private sector which are reserved for the government. Next question, question 23. Which is the following is incorrect? Which is the following is incorrect? That is false. First, FDI is made with an intention of exercising control over an enterprise. B. FDI is called portfolio investment. C. FDI is a long-run investment. And D. FDI helps in upgradation of technology. Which of the following is false? B. FDI is called portfolio investment. FDI is not called portfolio investment. So answer B, option B, 23B. Next, 24. Choose the correct statement. A. For sustainable economic development, FII is more preferable to FDI. B. FDI has strong speculative effect in equity market. C. In India, permission for FDI is not uniform for all sectors. D. FDI is usually done to reap short-term gains. Choose the correct statement. C. In India, permission for FDI is not uniform for all sectors. In India, permission for FDI is not uniform for all sectors. Next question, question 25. Which of the following is not the concern of monetary policy? Which of the following is not the concern? Not the concern of monetary policy. A. Interest rate. B. Quantity of money and credit. C. Disposable income with the household. Or D. Both A and B. Not a concern of monetary policy. It's C. Disposable income with the household. Disposable income with the household is not the concern of monetary policy. But yes, interest rate and the quantity of money and credit is the concern of monetary policy. So the answer is C. 25 C. Next question 26. Choose the correct answer from among the combinations given below the following table. Macroeconomic variable are given over here. A. Tax rate. B. GDP. C. Inflation. Desired direction for conductiveness. First is higher the better. Second is moderately higher the better. Third is lower the better. Options are A. A3, B1, C2. B. Option B. A3, B2, C1. Option C. A1, B2, C3. Option D. Either A or B. Tax rate. Lower the better. Lower the better. A3. GDP. GDP. Higher the better. Inflation. Moderately higher the better. A3, B1 and C2. Option A. Option A. Next question 27. Question 27. Which of the following is not implied by liberalization? A. Decontrol. B. Deregulation. C. General broadening of the freedom of enterprise. And D. Disinvestment of public sector enterprise. Question 27. D. Disinvestment of public sector enterprise is not implied as liberalization. This is not implied as liberalization. This is an example of instance of privatization. Next question 28. Which of the following reasons are correct for considering moderately low external value of domestic currency as conducive for domestic business? Which of the following reasons are correct for considering moderately low external value of domestic currency as conducive for domestic business? A. Protecting the domestic industry from competition from imported goods. B. Making the exports competitive. C. Traffic jumping FDI. D. All of the above. It's all of the above. It's all of the above. 28D. Next question 29. Reasons why lower interest rate may be conducive for business. Reasons why lower interest rate may be conducive for business include A. Makes investment proposals with lower returns eligible. B. Enables mobilization of savings of the households. C. Reduces cost of capital. D. A and C. It's D, A and C. That is makes investment proposals with lower return eligible. and C. Reduces cost of capital. Reduces cost of capital. Next question, 30th. Which of the following is the overarching all-inclusive assumptions while assessing the conductiveness of macro variables for business? A. Corresponding conductiveness of politico, legal and social cultural institutions. B. Given other things constant. C. Time lag. And D. Non-retaliatory compensatory adjustment neutralizing a particular impact. Which of the following is the overarching, all-inclusive assumptions while assessing the conductiveness of macro variables for business? B. Given other things constant. Given other things constant. 30B. 30B. I believe you understood till here. Let us continue and do some more questions, some more MCQs. First, identify the one which may be considered as a public policy. A. A decision by a central government to purchase a fleet of cars. B. An old building to be demolished by the municipal corporation. C. All citizens are to be provided with biometric Aadhaar card. Or D. Government passes a special resolution to change the name of the park. It's C. Public policy. C. All citizens are to be provided with biometric Aadhaar card. It's a policy of the government for public policy. Second question. Public policies are always dash. Fill in the gap by taking the appropriate expression from the following. Public policies are always dash. Goal oriented, minutely defined, pro-rich, for the poor. A. Goal oriented. A. Goal oriented. Public policies are always goal oriented. Next question. Question C. OCBs means OCB mean A. Overseas corporate bodies. B. Ordnance Commission Bilateral Secretariat. C. Overseas Civic Boards. Or D. Overseas Commercial Bilateral Treaties. It's A. Overseas Corporate Bodies. It's A. Overseas Corporate Bodies. Next question. 4. FEMA replaced FERA, a legislation in FEMA replaced FERA as legislation in A. 1991, B. 1992, C. 1999, D. 2006. It's C. 1999. 1999 FERA replaced FEMA. FEMA replaced FERA legislation. Next question. Question 5. Reforms in Dowry Act and Divorce Act are the examples of. Reforms in Dowry Act and Divorce Act are the examples of A. Economic reforms, B. Cultural reforms, C. Commercial reforms, D. Socio-cultural reforms. It's D. Socio-cultural reforms. It's D. Socio-cultural reforms. 5D. Next question 6. Decisions on annual financial spending, taxes and duties, and military spendings are considered in A. Policies, B. Budget, C. Goal setting, D. Long-term planning process. Decisions on annual financial spending, taxes, duties, military spending are considered in B. Budget of the government. Budget of the government. Government annual budget. Next question 7. Which of the following institutions has been scrapped recently? A. Mineral and Metals Regulatory Commission, B. Coal India Limited, C. Planning Commission, D. FIPB. It's D. FIPB. It's D. FIPB. Next question, question 8. The form of privatization where government keeps hold of responsibility and private enterprise handles the management of it fully or partly is known as A. Disinvestment, B. Deregulation, C. Delegation, or D. Decentralization. It's C. Delegation. It's C. Delegation. Next question. SBI, RBI and IRDA are A. Regulatory institution, B. Policy institution, C. Satellite institution, D. Goal setting bodies. It's A. Regulatory institution. It's A. Regulatory institution. Next question, question 10. A dash emanates from decision and decision is taken in line with dash. Identify the right expression to fill in the blanks. A policy emanates from decision. Goal. B. Budget plan. C. Plan and budget. And D. Goal and plan. It's A. Policy and goal. It's A. Policy. A policy emanates from decision making and decisions is taken in line with goals. Next, question 11. In case of Maruti Suzuki, the union government surrendered partial ownership and sold the majority stake to Suzuki of Japan in course of time. This is a case of A. Partial disinvestment, B. Displacement, C. Delegation, D. Divestment. This is a divestment. The government has sold or surrendered the partial ownership. D. Divestment. Next question, question 12. In case of NOCIL, National Organic Chemicals Industries Limited, the Reliance Industries Limited as a private enterprise expanded and gradually displaced the government entity. It was a case of A. Partial disinvestment, B. Complete privatization, C. Delegation, D. Displacement. It's D. Displacement. It's D. Displacement. Next question. BlackRock invested 30 million US dollars as a portfolio investor in Indian stock market. This may be a case of A. FDI, B. FII investment, C. Indirect investment, D. NRI investment. It's B. FII investment. It's B. FII investment. Next question, question 14. In order to take a decision, there must be dash course of action. Fill in the blank with appropriate expression. In order to take a decision, there must be dash course of action. A. 1. B. Specific. C. Financial. Or D. More than one. It's D. More than one. It's D. More than one. I believe you understood till here. I believe you understood till here. We are stopping here. We are stopping here. We'll continue from here in the next class. We're stopping here. We'll continue from here in the next class. Thank you. Thank you.